dialogue where the fans, Niki Lauda drives the car with the fans, and the fans just go crazy. They're like, for the Ferrari, Niki Lauda driving my car, a Ferrari Formula One driver.
So, hello everyone. The Formula One team at Ballazo is back. Like, what a season we are witnessing. So, today we are going to talk about two topics. So, we are going to talk about the epic race we just witnessed at Zandvoort and the upcoming round 14 at Monza. So, before we start with today's podcast, I request all our viewers to like, subscribe, and share to this channel. And do follow our social media handles, whose links are provided in the description box below for the latest sports update. Today, we got Ushma joining in all the way from Chandigarh. She is a huge Mercedes, Russell, and Leclerc fan and joining Blazo for the first time for the video broadcast. So Ushma, how is it going for you?
It's going terribly awful. I am hating that the time I started watching F1 is when Hamilton is getting a competition. I'm going to get Hamilton like tattooed on my neck or something. Like he has God is great. I'm going to get like Hamilton is great or something. I'm hating what is happening these days.
Okay, so thanks Ushma for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you on the show. So Naren is joining us from Pune. So Naren is a huge F1 enthusiast. He runs a passion project by the name The Racing Squad. So Naren, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, thanks, Nitish, for inviting again to be a part of the podcast at Ballazo Sport. It's a pleasure being here, and yeah, it feels witnessed quite a okay race, to be honest. Not a lot of action, but pretty much a straightforward race because overtaking, I believe, it's quite difficult on the racetrack, and the racetracks come after 35 years. So good to see a race unlike last time, but yeah, feeling quite good. I think race weekend's always a very exciting day for sure.
Yeah, like Dutch fans must be hugely happy seeing Max back on top. So finally, the Red Bull fan, Kanav, joining in from Mumbai. So you must be very happy today seeing Max back on top. So how are you feeling today, Kanav?
It's a great feeling. Two back-to-back wins for Max, and we are back on the top of the championship. So great feeling, and most importantly, I think so. Max winning in his hometown and the kind of crowd we had. So it was an exciting race for me.
So, like, I was a bit disappointed seeing Max won because, first of all, I was hoping that he will celebrate his win just like the Lewis Hamilton did when he won the Silverstone. But so that was one of my initial reactions. So, what do you have to say about your initial reaction about the race, Nare?
Oh yeah, it was quite a straightforward race. I think qualifying literally set up the grid, and we didn't witness a lot of overtaking except a few here and there, like Max overtake on Bottas, which obviously was leading the race, and it was after the pitch. So that and maybe I think the start, Giovinazzi's touch. I think he really had a great chance this race because he qualified P7. He should have possibly scored good number of points, and but I think that touch at the start kind of pushed him back to the down the grid, and he didn't score a lot of points in this race. Uh, it was. And apart from that, I think Bottas's team radio was quite exciting, which I kind of followed after the race, like where he was asked not to set the fastest lap during the last lap, which was quite amusing. Like he first Mercedes pitted Bottas for new tires during the end of the race, and then when he asked him on the radio, like, okay, why did you all pit me? And like the team was like, it was just a precautionary measure. And then later on, we see Lewis Hamilton pitting for the fastest lap, and the team telling Bottas on the radio not to set the fastest lap so that Lewis Hamilton can set it and score an extra point, which he did. So I think that was quite exciting to see. But yeah, I feel bad for Bottas. not a great position to be in for sure.
Yeah, Bottas is truly fighting for his survival. He is the one witnessing his drive to survive, I would say. And what I when I was watching it live, I did follow that he was asked to he said the fastest first sector, and then he's got the radio message that do not set the fastest lap. He did pull the acceleration back in the third sector, but still he got the fastest lap somehow. I don't know why, but yeah. So Ushma, what do you have to say about the race?
Yeah, the whole Hamilton Bottas thing is interesting. I thought Verstappen was pretty hard to race with all this while, and I didn't know that Bottas was also taking so much crap. Also, this is like my first like season that I'm following properly with all the qualies and stuff. So it's really interesting all that happens on the radio. And I think what was amusing for me is Pierre Gasly, that he ended up where number 4, I think, behind
Yes.
Bottas. Yeah, and he and like the race started from the end. He overtook all those cars, ended up with the best driver of the day.
It was Perez who actually won the driver of the day.
Yeah, Perez. Perez started from the end and he won the driver of the day. And Gasly also with that okay car ending up at number 4. I think it's pretty amusing what they're doing. And didn't expect Alpine to overtake Sainz either. I don't know what's happening with Ferrari. I want Ferrari to win as well. But yeah, both of the Ferrari drivers are such cuties. I think they should win.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about Gasly. He has qualified top six positions in the last 10 out of the 13 races. And I feel like AlphaTauri and Gasly is the one person who just gets ignored. No one notices them, kind of just gets ignored by everyone. He performs, he does well, in every race comes out qualifying, but just no one, I think, notices him at the end. So with he was thought of, there were some rumors that he might end up at Alpine, but Alpine has retained both of their drivers, and also the second seat of Red Bull now has confirmed that Perez is going to drive for them in 2022. So Kanav, what do you say? What options might Gasly had in front of him, given he is performing well even in a back marker car and showcasing his skills and turning into a mature driver every day, I would say. So do he needs to look outside of the Red Bull academy?
I believe for Gasly, I think so. He has a couple of more years to struggle with AlphaTauri only. He has no other option to go anywhere. Apart from that, as of now, you have only one vacant seat for next season. That is the Alfa Romeo, which will be vacant by Kimi Räikkönen. So it makes no sense to switch from AlphaTauri to Alfa Romeo. And also, as of now, Mercedes most probably will be bringing in George Russell. Bottas may go to Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari most probably will be retaining their driver lineup. And since Red Bull has already confirmed Sergio Perez, so I think so he has no option apart from staying one more year with AlphaTauri. And I think so he still needs more time to mature and prove himself as a credible driver with more consistency in the upcoming season and in the upcoming races, to make sure that he is worthy, or to prove that he is worthy of that Red Bull seat which was taken away from him. And as you see, if you see that the drivers' records, people who have moved out of the Red Bull driver program haven't been that successful. You can see Sebastian Vettel going to Ferrari from Red Bull, not being that successful. Daniel Ricciardo going out of Red Bull, not being that successful. And also Carlos Sainz going out of Red Bull and not being that kind of successful. So I think so. It's not and as of now, the Red Bull is one of the top teams. Probably they will be winning this season. So it makes no sense to move out of AlphaTauri or the Red Bull driver program.
So Naren, what do you have to say about the same?
Yeah, I think Pierre Gasly has been performing really well with AlphaTauri, and he definitely deserves a seat in the Red Bull. But I think what's really important is the atmosphere. The team atmosphere is really important for any driver to perform at his top level. So I think which Pierre Gasly is getting at AlphaTauri, he's not. I think the Red Bull seat, he was pushed quite early to the Red Bull seat, and there was a lot of pressure for him to perform. And Red Bull wanted results. Red Bull is a team that wants to fight for the championship. They want results. They want top five results for both the drivers so that they can constantly fight for the championship, for the drivers' championship and the constructors' championship as well, which is really important for them. So yeah, so there's a lot of pressure to perform well consistently in a Red Bull team. So which Biagasi was given an opportunity, and somehow just for 6 races there, like half the season, they kind of decided to drop him to AlphaTauri. And I think since that day, he's performed phenomenally well. Since the day he's been driving for AlphaTauri after driving for Red Bull, and I totally think that he shall stick with AlphaTauri for a year more. And it's anyone's season 2022 going onwards. Like, the rules and regulations are changing. The car is changing to a certain extent, right? So it can be anyone's win. Like, you never know. A Williams, or maybe they've got more time in the uh, for aerodynamic testing. So, they can perform well as well. So I think 2022 is anyone's season. So I think it makes sense to stick with an AlphaTauri for the next year as well.
So even Alonso, I would say, is performing really well after struggling for a few races in the start. So Ushma, what do you have to say about the Alonso? Even in the last 2 races back, how he kept Hamilton at the bay and helped his teammate win, and again today overtaking Sainz at the last lap to claim the sixth spot. He's like, even he is getting old again, like the most aged driver in the next year's lineup, still performing, still fighting for the positions. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think Alonso has been amazing. It was, I think, singularly Alonso's effort that his teammate got to the podium in that race. And even in this race, it was so. I wanted Hamilton to win so bad. There had been 6 red flags during practice and qualifying, and I think, was it lap 1 or lap 2? I think in the beginning lap, when Fernando Alonso was about to have a skirmish with George Russell, but it got him like shit. And there was another where Vettel like skid, and Bottas had to lost a second or 3 when he had to turn, and there were no red flags. I was counting on Alonso to get me a red flag in the beginning of the race. There's nothing happening. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's from my side.
But yeah, I would like to say that the Dutch people were so amazing. Like the crowd, the orange army, the colors, the sky was filled up. But next week we have Monza. So let's talk about that race then. Back in Monza, the home of Ferrari, the support for the red by tifosis. So, and an unexpected podium we witnessed the last time around we were here. Gasly won it. So first of all, my question is, how do you compare this week's Orange Army against the next week's Red Army tifosis? Which crowd will be a greater boost for their team? So Kanav, what do you have to say about that?
Like both the the Dutch people and the Italian people, they are truly behind their drivers and their teams, and it's great to see such a huge crowd amidst this pandemic on the racetrack. So, well, this was after 35 years, the Dutch people are getting a race at their home, and they see their home driver winning this race. So obviously they are they were having a great time, and we have seen these Dutch fans across various tracks supporting Max Verstappen, and they are ardent followers. And this time they have this joy that one of their own driver is in the contention for the championship. So I think so the Orange Army at this point of time is more have a more higher morale than the Red Army. We, frankly speaking, Tifosi doesn't have anything to rejoice for. We know that in Monza, Ferrari, and with the condition of their car as of now, I don't think so they would be giving a podium or something, and may not be Tifosi will not be having a very good weekend, irrespective of the kind of support they bring in. And for as far as Monza is concerned, I think so the last year when Ferrari had, I think so they were celebrating their 1,000 race in Monza, and it was such a shame that both the cars finished outside of points, and I think so both the cars retired. So it was such a shame. And this time I think so they are better than the last year, but I won't think they would be making in the top 5 this year. So not much hopes from Ferrari on Monza, but definitely a good track for Mercedes, as it has long straights, and I think so that is more suitable for the Mercedes car.
So, talking about Ferrari only, Leclerc won his second race over here, and I know, Naren, you are a huge Ferrari fan. You even asked Leclerc about how he won that particular race, and given the crowd, the Italian crowd, can we expect something unexpected from the Ferrari in front of their home crowd? They might go all out. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, whenever I think of Ferrari, I think emotions run really high, and I just think of that dialogue from that movie. I think The Rush, and there's this dialogue where the fans, Niki Lauda drives the car with the fans, and the fans just go crazy. They're like, for the Ferrari, Niki Lauda driving my car, a Ferrari Formula One driver. So they have this very passion for racing is like extreme, and it's quite great to see that. And I think Tifosis and the Orange Army, the Red Army, both are equally good at their own uh, in their own way, definitely. And I still remember like 2019 Italian Grand Prix. I literally have pictures saved on my phone wherein the entire first turn straight is filled with Ferrari people celebrating, fans celebrating the win for Charles Leclerc. So I think they're very emotional and very passionate and very dedicated. They follow the sport really dedicatedly, and the entire nation's behind Ferrari. Like I don't think so. That love for a sport is that emotionally connect for the sport is there for any other country or city as well. So I think it's something special for sure. Italian GP and Monza and Ferrari is definitely special. Like you say, like every fan is a Ferrari fan, no matter if they say they're not a Ferrari fan. So I think I'm not sure if we can expect Ferrari to perform really well, but I think the teams themselves have said that we'll start performing really good 2022 onwards. They've openly said that, and I think they performed really well this race, qualified P6, P7 if I'm not mistaken, and I think Monza definitely. I don't think so. We can expect anything special, but you never know. It's Formula One, and anything can happen. So let's just hope for the best. Like maybe we get a chance at the podium or a Carlos Sainz podium. I think that itself would be something special for sure. And I'm pretty sure if they do somehow even manage to do that, the forces are gonna go crazy for sure.
Yes, definitely. Even like we are going to have the second sprint race of the season here at Monza. So few points up for grabs for the drivers and the teams. And I would say the first sprint race was rather not that exciting. And the talking point, if we all remember, was something else at the of the Silverstone week. So what different can we expect this time around for the sprint race at Monza? So
Okay.
kind of
Well, sprint races, I think so. I like the concept a lot, even in the British GP. I think so. The kind of grids we get after sprint race, these are very surprising, I would say. And and similarly, I believe in Monza also we can have some surprises in the grid positions from the normal qualifications. And since will have a small race, a small preview of what happens in the main race, I think so would be great to see. And I am expecting some huge upsets during that race, like someone like Mazepin and they come within the top 10 on the grid, or you can have a very interesting guy having a pole position. So a lot of, I think so, it's sprint races has a lot of opens a lot of opportunities for anyone, and I think so it's a level playing field where as qualifying it's very much biased towards the cars which are have more better engines as compared to others. But the sprint race is like a level playing field. It can be anyone's day and anyone can get the pole position. So I think so it would be a great race to watch.
Yes, everyone is like uh, expecting it to be a great show. So even Naren, as we know, Red Bull is yet to take an engine change grid penalty for Verstappen. They did that for today for Perez. So can we expect Red Bull to take the grid penalty at the next at Monza, or would they delay it for another race or two? Given Max does not have a great record at Monza.
Yes, I think that would be a really strategic decision, and they'll have to think it through, because I think it's really important to take the penalty where they think they cannot fight for a good position in the race. So, and given that sprint qualifying is also there, maybe it changes up the grid as well. So I think it's a very strategic decision wherein they decide to take a penalty where they think they cannot fight for a good position. So it can be Monza, it can be Russia. Uh, I think they have to take it any sooner or later, and I think that's going to really spice up the championship for sure. Because if they do take it, he'll start lower down the grid, and it'll be really exciting to see that race for sure. But Lewis Hamilton would possibly have an advantage in that race, and he might just score more points than Max Verstappen. And the battle for the championship is going to be really exciting, and that's what you would want to see for sure.
Yes, let's hope everything goes well for Max and let's see when they decide to go for the grid penalty. So Ushma, let's talk about Russell as well. An epic qualifying at Spa by out qualifying both the Mercedes, and even Mercedes has hinted that they have already decided for who might be racing for them the next season. And even the drivers has hinted at that they do know where they are going to race for the next season. So question for you, how far is Russell getting the Mercedes call?
I don't know. I think Naren had posted a very interesting Twitter post about this, where he said that Raikkonen would retire at Spa, and he did. And then he said Bottas would go to where? Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
And then Russell was like, damn. So it is pretty interesting. Even today during the race, the commentators were, the way they were pitting Bottas, it was almost like, oh, Bottas. For a second, I thought that it had already been announced, and maybe I missed the announcement, so I had to go back and check if Bottas was already out. But the way the commentators were talking about him, I was like, oh my God, Bottas is already out. And yeah, the Spa was a non-race. I mean, he had a great qualifying, but he won because F1 wanted to keep some money. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure he'll be getting some podiums with Mercedes, because he has nearly gotten a podium when Hamilton had the COVID. So yeah.
So even like one of the commentators, if I remember correctly, Karan Chandok pointed out that the Russell and Hamilton duo at Mercedes next year might be similar to the one we had seen in the past previously, 2007, Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. one seasoned champion and the one newbie coming out and beating the seasoned champion out there. So let's see if both of them end up at the Mercedes next year and how that season turns out to be. So, Kanav, for you, Max in the past has not performed well at the Monza with DNF in 2020 and the eighth spot before the year before that. So, with the kind of season that he's having and the qualifying race pace he has shown, uh, can Supermax upset his past performances at Monza?
Well, I'll hope that he does. He wins at Monza, but if you see the facts and statistics, definitely it's not the kind of track Red Bull wants to be on. And probably more straights is something a Mercedes turf. So it would be tough for Max, but I think so. After the incidents in the previous incidents when he was involved in crashes, I think so. He has took his lessons, and we saw in the last two races that he has, like, if you don't consider the Spa, but today's race we saw that he had a good start. He maintained the gap. The Red Bull has been very good in their pit stop strategy, since Mercedes was trying to achieve an undercut over the Verstappen, but every time they would pit just after the Mercedes and foil all their attempts of undercut. And you know the Red Bull game and the pit stops, they are the fastest. They are fastest on doing those pit stops. I don't know how, and within split seconds, the tires are changed and they just move out quickly. So I think so. Since they have been now the days, like, the Mercedes dominance on the track, Mercedes dominance on the strategy, I think so. It's long gone. So anything can happen, and I believe that the Verstappen will definitely get it on the Monza. If AlphaTauri can win at Monza, why not Red Bull?
Yes, definitely. So let's bring out the last question for today's podcast. So, what are your predictions for the race? Gasly won at Monza last year. So, can we expect an unexpected podium this time around as well? So, Kanav, why don't you go ahead?
Um, for me, the predictions would be Hamilton first, followed by Bottas, and third, I would like to give it to Ferrari, like Carlos Sainz.
Any wild card that you might think might outperform or might gain a lot of positions in the race?
Uh, I believe it could be Giovinazzi. He's a home in front of his home crowd. I think so. If he'd not for the touch he had in the first lap, I think so. He would have in today's race. He would have gained some places, and I believe he's a talented driver, and at his home track, I think so. He can make some difference.
Well, I would say strange to see a Red Bull fan giving Mercedes podium predictions. So, Naren, what do you say? What do you have to say about your predictions and a wild
I
card?
think, yeah. So I think P1 I would select Lewis Hamilton. P2 I would select Max Verstappen, and P3 I would go with Charles Leclerc. So
And
yeah,
the
that's the
wild card?
top three. And the wild card is uh, basically is a wild card basically someone who overtakes the most, or who
Oh,
performs the best.
wild card just outside of top three who might perform the best.
Okay, so someone outside the top three would perform the best. I would go with maybe Lando Norris.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Even for today's race, Lando Norris was my wild card. I hope from P13 he might come up and gain some positions, but no, the McLaren just didn't had the pace today. So Ushma, last. So what do you have to say about your predictions for the race?
Uh, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, and I think it's either Ocon or Norris which could be the wildcard for me. I think Ocon has been quiet for a bit. I want Ocon. He's a French person. I'm more excited for Gasly, Ocon, my second nation.
But
So,
two
yeah, and
Ferraris at the podium.
yeah, I mean, it should have either both of them go out and retire, or both of them.
So
No, but
like,
I agree. Sorry, I agree with Kanav about Giovinazzi. I think it's his home crowd, and I want him also. I think there are too many wildcards. Maybe it should all be new people on the podium. That would be cool.
yes, definitely. So even I would like to point out my predictions. For me, I would say Hamilton top. Second, I would give to Bottas, and for third, I would say my podium finishes kind of matches with Kanav, and I would like to see Sainz at the podium in the third place. And for the wild card, I would pick Alonso. He has been performing really well, and let's see how well he can perform at Monza this time around. So these are my picks. So anyone would like to add before we wrap up this session?
Yeah. What are your views about Daniel Ricciardo letting?
So let's just not talk about Daniel Ricciardo this time around. So pretty upset, I would say.
He let the overtake happen pretty easily. His team was screaming, "Do not hold him back, hold him back." I was like, okay.
He just didn't had the pace with him. Even McLaren didn't had the
He
pace.
did
He
not
had hit
even
it.
put up of competition. He was just like, please go.
So let's just finish it up. It was great to have you guys on the show. I would love to see a hell of a season with close battles between Hamilton and Verstappen. Thank you all for joining the podcast, and hope we can do another one soon. And thank you. See you all.
Thanks again, Nitish, for inviting and having me on the podcast. It's totally a pleasure to be here. And yeah, let's hope for a super exciting Italian Grand Prix.